Sometimes it isn't so much technical advice, rather taking a different approach to how you think about your riding that can lead to improvements. So in this video, I've got 8 tips that will help you rethink your riding. And the first tip couldn't be simpler. All I want you to do is follow the nose of your board. Imagine an arrow pointing out of the nose of your board, and you want to keep the direction you're traveling following that arrow. Now this might sound incredibly obvious, but you might be surprised how often you're not actually following the nose. For instance, if I skid right here, my nose is now pointing this way, but I am in fact traveling that way. So if you want to get some level of board control, if you want to start leaving clean lines in the snow, and if you want to get early edge changes, then it's imperative that you follow the nose of your board. I think that was obvious. Now let's get on to tip number 2. Snowboarding is like walking. Now hear me out here. When you walk forward, you place your heel flat, your foot goes flat, and then you come onto the balls of your feet. But you're not thinking about making any of those movements. They simply happen naturally because you pass your knee, your hip, and your whole center of mass over the top of your foot every time you step forward. And this is going to be what happens in every heel to toe side edge change. Cross your center of mass over your foot and your foot rolls forward. And we can think about the toe to the heel edge change as like walking backwards. Cross your knee, hip, back over the board, and that will make your board change edge. So let me strap in and let me show you. Right now I'm on my heel edge. I need to change onto my toes. My feet need to roll across the board, and that happens at every edge change simply by passing my knees, my hips, and my center of mass over the board. Toes to heels is like walking backwards, and heels to toes is like stepping forwards. Snowboarding really is as simple as walking. Tip number 3 is to think about the edge change and the turn as 2 separate things. Because I see a lot of people trying to turn the board whilst edge changing, which always leads to skid. The edge change and the turn are 2 different things. The purpose of the edge change is to roll the board from one edge to the other, and then the turn can begin. And if you think about these things as 2 different things, then your riding will be much, much better, because every good turn will be preceded by a good edge change. And if you follow your sequence, then as I say, you're just going to improve your riding and get much better S-shaped turns to control your speed down the mountain. And if you're already following the nose of your board, and if you're already walking your feet and your center of mass over the board at every edge change, then it's going to be much easier to achieve this. Tip number 4 is to finish your turns. What do I mean by that? Well, like I am now, I have my board across the slope 90 degrees to the fall line, and on any slope that is remotely steep, you want to finish your turns, bring the board across the fall line in order to control your speed. That's how you'll be able to slow yourself down, by using your turn shape. And if you're not doing that, if you're not finishing your turns, then I can guarantee you're going to be controlling your speed by skidding. Like that. Tip number 5 is to get your snowboard equipment to work for you. Your board, your boots, and your bindings were designed in a certain way to help make snowboarding easier. And all you have to do to get the most out of your equipment is get your weight in the right place. So that means on your heel side, sit with your weight back behind the board, shoulders stacked over hips, stacked over heels, which means the back of your legs will be leading into your high backs, which will tilt the board on edge and apply pressure, allowing you to achieve grip through your turns. On the toe side, it's all about using your boots. Bend your knees, have your hips nudge forward, shoulders stacked over hips, stacked vertically over your toe edge, ankles relaxed so that your shins press down into the front of your boots, and your boots act like a lever, tilting the board onto the toe edge so you can achieve grip. And if you get your weight in the right place and use your high backs and use the front of your boots, Then you start to notice that it's quite easy to engage the side cut of the board, which will then pull you through the arc of the turn. Don't fight your equipment, don't fight your turns, work with it, and you'll be snowboarding much better. Tip number 6 is to ride to the conditions. The snow is always changing. Sometimes it's soft and really grippy, meaning that you can dig the edge of the board in and trust that you can just lean right over into every turn and get perfect carves. But it's not always going to be like that. Right now, we've got a bit of an icy layer underneath, but because it's quite warm, it's starting to slush up on top just a little bit. So I'm keeping my turns a little bit smaller. I'm not making too much of a lateral movement to put the board onto too much of an edge, which means my turns are slightly more skidded. So you might have just watched a carving tutorial and you want to go out and do that for the day, but learn to read how the snow is and feel how much grip it offers you and adjust your plans accordingly. It's not always going to be perfect, so learn how to ride differently and how to make different movements to allow you to adapt to changing snow conditions. Tip number 7 is to embrace your failures, because you actually learn things, you learn new motor skills by making mistakes. Now you can watch as many of my tutorials as you want, and I'd advise you to do so, but the real way you're going to learn new motor skills and learn how to snowboard is by getting out there and doing it. And when you get something wrong, then your brain releases these chemicals that gears your brain up and sets it up in a better state for learning and puts you in a better state for acquiring new skills. And when you figure out how to do something yourself, now I might have pointed you in the right direction, but when you figure out how it actually works and when you do it for the first time, that is the best way for you to learn new movements. So try not to overthink it too much. Get out there, do it, have fun, woo, and embrace the times that it goes wrong. Tip number 8 is the most important tip of all. Have fun. All right. Now, whilst in most of my videos I try to advocate a way of riding where you follow the nose of the board, get an early edge change, control your speed with your turn shape and eliminate skidding, and I try to promote riding in a way that really you can adapt to ride all conditions very well with, it doesn't mean that every turn I make is perfect and I ride like that all the time. I'm generally quite against kicking the back foot out and skidding the board like this, but I will for sure sometimes do it. Maybe I'm feeling lazy, maybe it's a little bit icy underneath, or maybe I just kind of had to quickly avoid someone. So don't beat yourself up if you're not riding perfectly all the time. Simply get out there, enjoy being on the snow. Ooh, it's getting crowded around here, and have some fun, because the more fun you're having, then the better you're going to get and the more you're going to learn. Whee! So thank you as always for watching. The snow is just slushing up pretty nicely now, getting to that nice level where it becomes nice and grippy. Although this is not typical conditions for mid-February, I'm still loving it.